Ah, shit. Forgot to put the thing on fucking silent.
Colors drip, they slide, they fall. Coffee drained now, fuel for more. My hands are messy, my mind's a zoo. Painting goo. Paint goo. Painting goo. Painting me. Painting you. Sip, sip. Rap, rap. Paint goo. Painting goo. Bitches wet, they drip, they fall. Canvas screaming, let's paint them all. A smear of smudge, a masterpiece too. Paint, paint, painting goo. It's eating no wounds, it's lavish too. Characters rushed with light. No rules, no plan, just let it do. Paint, goo, painting goo. It's in my blood, it speaks to you. Fire and gold is breaking through. Goo, painting goo.
Greetings, my beloved Japonoita, and welcome to another glorious episode of Painting Goo with me, your illustrious demi-divine host, Fenderu-sama, demi-god of Painting Goo. I hope you are all well this fine Tuesday, and it being Tuesday, we are going to engage some techno. Techno Tuesday. Sit back, relax, or if you're at work, like many of you I know are, enjoy the tunes. Watch me work. Occasionally. Obviously, you can't just sit back and watch me work if you're at work.
Thank you.
Hey, Margie. Ah, Prono-sama! Welcome. How are you, John? You well? Ah, Dick for you. Hanging in there, you. Yep, still alive. Yeah, it's only 18 degrees Celsius today. It's gotten way cooler. How are you feeling today, Margie? You better? Well, a little is better than none. I heard the new Mortal Kombat is actually decent. I have heard that. I heard people went to see it and they enjoyed it. Part of me wants to see it. All right, yeah. Part of me, like, because I saw the one they came out with a few years ago, and I was like, it was good. You know, like, it wasn't great. It was good. It was a little bit shit. You know, coming up with like a new character just for the movie and all. But it was entertaining. My favorite part about it was the fact that your man from that Japanese actor from The Last Samurai, the guy who plays Ujio, the fact that he was playing Scorpion, I was like, hell yeah. I think he did a good job as Scorpion. Um, but honestly, I don't think. I still think the one from the '90s is just. I love it. The fight choreography and the vibe, and the fact that they like pretty much like held true to the game lore for the most part. Um, and like Shang Tsung in that one was fucking amazing. Like, but yeah, the new one looks okay, you know. I haven't really watched anything since I finished Samurai Jack there the other day. Or the other day, fucking like a few weeks ago. I finished watching Samurai Jack. Fucking amazing. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I want to start watching Dragon Ball, but like, I have this horrible habit of like, after dinner, I just like sit in bed and watch like crime stuff. Just helps me go to sleep.
Alright, let's just start messy tonight. Canvas blank under a soft blue light. I don't really know.
I'm also
what
watching a lot of
this
like a lot of
but the colors
Christian
dance
versus Muslim debates lately.
slow
It's
and
fascinating.
close. Yeah, that looks sweet, but I kinda like
Or
it.
Christian versus Islam, whatever way you want to say it.
Don't overthink it. Trust the process, trust your hand. Happy accidents, understand.
It really does, like, from what I've seen, it looks like Islam is just like a satanic inversion from some kind of like Muslim dude's fever dream. You know, like,
Painting, we'll figure it out. Line by line, doubt fades out. In the end, it always makes sense when you let go of perfection. Chat rolls by like a quiet tide. Good catch, yeah, you're probably right. I'm gonna push the contrast more. I'll open up another door. Just keep painting, we'll figure it out. Color speaks louder than doubt. Doesn't have to be clean or done. It's the journey that makes it fun. Let me zoom in so you can see every flaw, every possibility. Sometimes you ruin it to make it work. That's how art learns first. Tomorrow starts another run, still
kind of went a bit off there at the end. First like 6 rows were pretty much bang on, and then I just started listing lazily to the left. You had to order refrigerant for your fridge. You had to refill the gas in your fridge or something. Agree. Living in the desert, humping camels does weird things to a man. Yeah, like I have this feeling. It's kind of. I need to take a piss. I'll be back in a second. Then I'll get back to what I was saying. Ugh. Oh, fuck. Right. So, I was only actually thinking about this earlier on. Oh, it's for your air conditioner. Oh, okay. So, have you guys seen this movie that's floating around done by Yu Ball, the guy who did the Resident Evil movies, which is a hilarious fact in its own. So there's a movie going around called Citizen Vigilante, right? And it's blown up the internet the last few weeks. And it's about this guy who goes on a vigilante spree against Islamic immigrants. And he basically just starts like killing them all, like, you know. And loads of people are like, yes, we need more of this. That's how it's done. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, you see it all over Instagram and all over YouTube. Because there's this like scene in particular where he's in the home of a Muslim family who the sons like raped a European girl. And basically he like shoots them all with a silenced pistol, like after like interrogating them. And it's basically, from what I can tell, especially after what I read today, it is essentially a Jewish-made psyop movie. Oh, excuse me. Orange. It's basically a Jewish-made psyop movie where it's basically while all the people on the internet are, and in real life, not just in the internet, but particularly on the internet, while everybody's bitching and moaning about the particularly Islamic immigrant problem, especially after the 250,000 girls that got raped, like since like the 50s or something, is after that Rupert Lowe report about the Muslim Islamic rape gangs in England is after coming out. The zeitgeist is essentially right now where you have all the Europeans and the Americans who are like, get them out, get them out, get them out. All they do is like, rape and murder and scam welfare systems and so on and so forth, which is basically true, in general is true. And now in the last few weeks, or last several weeks, you now have this movie that comes out that is essentially satiating that perspective, right? But it's made by Jews, so and whether it's the Jews in quotes or whatever, so the same group of people who are benefiting financially and I suppose you could say spiritually, like parasitically, energetically, from funding the mass immigration situation, the same people are now also benefiting from people consuming the citizen vigilante content. So just like they've always done, they're playing both sides, right? So they're benefiting from supporting and instigating the mass immigration and organizing the mass immigration. And now they're also benefiting from satiating the anger and the wrath from the European side of it through the media. Now, to make a comparison between that kind of scenario, I think that's essentially what Islam is, where for hundreds of years you have Christianity, Roman Catholicism, Christianity, like it's, and then just like Satanism and Judaism, which a lot of people would argue is just like Satanism. But then you have the third one, which is Islam, just like pops up in the desert, right? So, from what I can tell, Islam is the Satanists' distraction. So they benefit from doing the Satanism, and then they invent Islam, they invent Muslimism to distract a huge portion of the Christians, because now they have another like foe to handle. So it's kind of like Islam is the liability shield of Satanists, in the same way that the Citizen Vigilante movie is essentially like a rhetorical liability shield, or a distraction, where it's like, look, there is somebody willing to talk about what's actually going on and put it in a movie. But like, even if you see some of the scenes, particularly that scene where he's in their home and he's like shooting them all, it's it has a pornographic feel to it, where it's like, it's specifically made, and you can kind of tell just by looking at it, like it's made to, it's almost like it was made using AI, because it's like, it's tailored specifically to all of these people who are like, really hammering the we need to get together. We need to stop all this mass immigration. We need to vote for this party instead, and we need to come up with independence, and we need to like that we need the pendulum needs to swing the other way and kind of stuff and all like. But from what I've learned from watching Owen over the years and having him break down a lot of that, and also watching other people like Tom Barnett, who kind of speaks about things more in like a almost like a more spiritual sense and stuff, and old world Florida, and a lot of the like when they talk about the polarity and the battery that is created by, are you the good guy or are you the bad guy? Are you a leftist or are you on the right, or any of these things like what I have like discerned is yet again essentially what you're left with is a situation where like if you get caught up, or if you allow yourself to get caught up in the I'm on this team, then you've already lost kind of thing, because the way all of this is designed, and I do believe it is designed by a certain group or like entity, it's designed to pull your energy in whatever direction it can. And that's what I see with like Islam and that mass immigration situation and citizen vigilante and stuff. Is like it is essentially just all a distraction, just like a lot of stuff is, from what really matters. Like, because if they can get you really angry, at like the British government for being utterly corrupt and allowing the systematic rape of up to, or in and around 250,000 young girls and women, specifically for the most part white European women or females. Like your sense of injustice and your wrath is stoked, whether it's justifiable or not. That's not really the point. The point is to get your energy. The point is so that you doom scroll. The point is that so you get angry. The point is that so you speak it into existence. Like the whole fiat money system of like, I speak it, therefore it is, and stuff like that. Like, where it's, especially with AI now and all, like they're banking on a load of people being distracted by mass immigration and the threat of Islam and the culture that it brings, like violence and rape and all this stuff. And most people would be coming from a Christian perspective, in the sense that like they're going to destroy our Western values, they're going to rape and murder our women, which they are. But the answer isn't to like join a new group. The answer isn't to like sign a petition that the European Union is just going to ignore. The answer isn't to like protest yet again about some new bullshit. Like yet again, just like Tom Barnett would say, or Christopher Gardner would say, or like even Old World Florida or Owen Benjamin, those kind of types, is like the meta view, and therefore the immediate materialistic move that you actually make, that actually matters, that actually does fight it long term, is not allowing that stuff to take your energy or your attention and alter your mood, and to stay focused on your craft or your job or your family. That's it. That's essentially my take on all of that at the moment. Anything that is endorsed by Elon Musk, I am suspicious of. Yeah, like I seen a video earlier on about the whole neural link thing. It was very strange, very very strange. The idea that people would be okay with, someone opening up their brain and putting some kind of tech in it, like, is crazy to me. What's the crack, Demo? You well? I see this movie as a small hat push to encourage a race war. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's basically what I was getting at. Yeah. Army Hammer also displays the Luciferian tattoos in a scene in this movie. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Sounds sadistic. Yeah, like it's. That's the literally the first impression I got of that Citizen Vigilante movie when I started seeing clips of it. Um, the sense that I got, like the vibe that I got from it was, yeah, sadistic is a good word, but like it's pornographic. It's like it's feeding a urge. It's feeding an urge, you know. Um, it's it is that Jewish, that whole fucking thing of like, yeah, you want to see the Muslims get shot, don't you? You want to like, because like the first thing I thought is like, well, the answer to this issue is not some dude walking around in a suit with a silenced fucking pistol, breaking into people's homes and interrogating them and then shooting the whole family, because he shoots the whole family, not just the young fella who committed the rape. He shoots the father, the young fella that committed the rape, the mother, and the two daughters. I think there's two daughters, and all she did was like tweet something, like these Western women need to cover up or some shit like that, Um, so like it goes like way in the other direction, to the point where it's like sick and twisted, you know. And then you have all these people, like hundreds of them, a lot of them probably are bots as well, just like everything else. But then you have all these people being like, yes, I want more of this. Yes, I'm going to download and watch this movie immediately. Yes, we need this. And then I'm like, so what Demon Hunter said there is like pretty much exactly true. It's like, it's all it is fueling the race war. All it is fueling the culture war, where it's like, now it's very similar to the Carmelo Anthony situation, where you have um, a very obvious uh, case of a low impulse control nigger type young boy from a low impulse control nigger type family doing some nigger shit, where he goes into somewhere he's not welcome. He's asked politely to leave. He gets shoved, and his response is to stab and kill the white kid. And then all the black, like, pretty well, not all, like, the usual suspects, like a massive majority of the ghetto nigger type black community, um, immediately turn it into a race war, when it's blatantly obvious it's just like some nigger shit, you know? And like, that's all that's doing is making everything worse. All that's doing is making is just further polarizing both groups. Because now you have a load of white people now who are like, oh wow, all these black people really are just retarded and racist and hypocritical. And then you have all the black types that are like, yeah, I'm sick of being, I'm sick of being judged just because I'm black. Fuck white people, you know. So like, the whole thing is just throwing fuel on the fire of like, we need a civil war, because like, obviously the war in Ukraine wasn't enough. Obviously the war, or the what would you call it, the 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 battle between like India and Pakistan, which was like brief or whatever, and then you also have the battle between America and Iran at the moment. Like, it's like none of it's working. They're desperately throwing shit at the wall to try and get your average person into such a state that large groups of people, um, basically turn into mobs and start killing each other. Because when you look at it from the point of view of like someone like Bill Gates or these globalist types or these Satanist types, whatever you want to call them, like the Epsteins and the Gates and stuff like that, like they openly admit that their goal is depopulation. So they've got like multiple wars going. They're incentivizing all of these like civil wars and stuff in places like Africa and shit like that, like, and heavily incentivizing, the idea of civil war in America. They're just like destabilizing everything as much as possible so that the society just collapses in on itself. And like from what I can tell, it is working, but not to the degree that they wanted to, and that's probably why they are just being so fucking blatantly extreme with it, with stuff like the Citizen Vigilante movie and Carmelo Anthony situation and all, like. And then you could go into like whether or not like some of these situations are full on psyops or whether they're not, like. But the reality is this stuff is what it is, and it is happening, and it is having an effect. But I don't think it's having the effect that they actually desire. I think they're trying to exhaust and fatigue and stoke people at the same time into such a state of like chaotic, energetic fucking discombobulation that something breaks. And then you get a situation that they can control. But they're creating so much chaos that there's no controlling it. It seems like counterproductive and paradoxical, where they're creating so much, they're sowing so much dissent, and they're creating so much chaos that they're ending up with a situation where people are just getting more radicalized, but in a way of like they're becoming more moral, they're becoming more self-sufficient, they're noticing stuff a lot more, like the Jewish question and the Satanism and the LGBT community, and like your average person is, even the moon landing and stuff, like your average person is noticing all of these, like, these things that make a lot of sense and that give you a completely different worldview, where you start to realize that there is seemingly this evil entity, whether it be a group of people or like a hive mind that's at the behest of some kind of parasitic entity on like a meta level or like a spiritual level. To me it feels like it's getting desperate because it's not getting what it wants. It is getting what it wants, but not to the degree that it wants it. It wants full on, like, like a white and black race war. It wants people like openly killing Jews. It wants like it wants like total sadistic chaos, but it's not getting that. It keeps like looking like we might get there, but then it falls short and doesn't happen, because what people seem to be repeatedly realizing, thank fuck, is that it's like, but if I do that, then I'd be just like you, though. Which to me makes a lot of sense, because like if you're a sadistic, evil, satanic, like evil entity or group, you've got no empathy. Like, you're psychopaths and all, like, do you know what I mean? And you may be like, highly intelligent and able to like very cunning and all this stuff. But the one thing they lack is an understanding of what it means to be human in like the good sense. So like good people have like mercy and self-awareness and like the ability to like repent and redirect their energy in a positive and creative manner and stuff like that. Like, so, and this is what leads me to be to the theory that even though it looks like there's like some kind of evil entity that is like trying to push us into a lot of horrible behavior that would be self-destructive, because what I'm seeing is a lot of people actually waking up to the realization that a lot of this is total bullshit, and all it's doing is sapping your energy. So you're better off growing your own food, working out, trying to master a craft, helping your neighbors, like stuff like that. It's like, is it possible that that's actually the objective? Is to like sift the wheat from the chaff kind of thing, where it's like if you just agitate the entire population in those ways, the inevitable result is a load of people who level up and a load of people who degenerate. So is that actually, would an evil entity do that? Or would a wise benevolent entity come to the understanding that that is what is necessary for people to work things out themselves? Oh, right. Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Thank you.
Oh, careful.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Totally understand. It's giving people a thrill. Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? It's like just S&S. What do you mean just S&S? I don't understand that. I think they'll exhaust themselves long before they get the desired results. Yeah, that's what yeah. Like what I see happening is like them just like pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's like, why isn't, why aren't the whites just snapping and killing all the blacks or something like? I mean, it's like it. On the one hand, it looks like I was saying a moment ago, it's like it's like a psychopath trying to figure out why it can't make or influence a good person into doing something that it wants. It's like it's getting frustrated with people choosing to do good as a result of encountering evil. Which maybe that is it on a certain level, where it's like, oh, I thought that would make them finally snap, or like, oh, I thought that would make them finally admit that, like, they're all a bunch of racists or something like that, like, which obviously some of them do. But the vast majority of people, I think, are actually like, when you look at data centers being put like near housing estates, and like Elon Musk doing all this like mad shit with fucking like Neuralink and becoming a trillionaire and all this fucking thing. It's like there is a portion of the entire population that is doing what appears to be what the evil entity wants. They're low impulse control. They're engaging in sin. They're taking sides. They're becoming more polarized. But at the same time, there's a whole group of people like us who are like, no, there's something up with this. I'm being influenced. I'm being dragged in a direction. I'm going to remove myself from this. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to grow my own food. I'm going to like focus more on like studying history and philosophy and like understanding the mechanisms of like how all this works, and we're detaching from the system that is trying to get everybody to like do what it desires, like, and within that's where I sense this like feeling of frustration. But then I also have that theory of like, well, like, what if that's the plan? What if the plan is to, like I said, sift the wheat from the chaff, where it's like, I'm gonna do this, and this, and what that will do is the good people will choose good and the bad people will choose bad, and it all sorts itself out. Which, if that's the fucking like meta move, that sounds like some kind of divine intellect to me, because that's fucking genius. to be able to think that far ahead and be like, I will stress them in these various, I will stress these various aspects of society to such a point that the people who are of an enlightened mind who want to choose good will choose good. And then the people who are engaging in sin and of a reprobate or degenerate mind will choose bad. And it will just sort itself out. Like, that's some fucking next level chess. Like, metal can be fatigued or work hardened. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of, yeah, it's like what I'm saying with the wheat versus chaff thing. It's like lots of people are becoming so malleable they can't really think for themselves. And then at the same time, lots of people are becoming like really aware and looking inwardly and like noticing things and shit, like, you know. Dude, spot on. There's something behind it all. The flames are stoked over and over. Yeah, well, that's it. Like, I do like, do you really think a group of people? I mean, it is possible that it's a group of people, considering like we don't know really how long mankind has been around. You know, after like every iteration of societies and like civilizations and stuff and all. Like, I mean, we're told, or as far as is available in the, you know, general sphere of knowledge, when you look online and you hear people talk about things like ancient Sumeria is essentially as far as it goes back. But even the ancient Sumerians talk about the Anunnaki or the Anunnaki who left and are coming back on Nibiru or whatever. So like, even when you go all the way back, it still goes back. It still goes further. So it's definitely possible that you just have like a bloodline or a genealogy or a breed of humanoids, whether they be human or not, that has been around so long and that has like seen all these different iterations of society and civilization, that they just kind of have this knowledge available to them and this understanding of like, this is how stuff works. But then it would also make sense that something more intelligent than a human being, and it doesn't necessarily have to be some kind of like spirit or entity or god even or deity. That's where it gets back into like my theory that there probably is like another totally separate species of humanoids, or even some kind of like parasite or bug or like some kind of like an organism that is just like vastly more intelligent than a human being, which allows them to like just like make all these computational like make all these like seemingly like it's like they're psychic, you know what I mean? It's like they have the ability to see into like all possible futures and go, oh, okay, so we'll do this. You know, like it's like, and then that, like, you know, what is psychic? You know, like, are we talking about like an entity, like a god that its consciousness exists outside time and space, so it can look at the entirety of time and space and be like, oh yeah, well, if I do this, this will happen. Like, you know, like taking all existence as far as we're concerned in this temporal reality, and then focusing it onto something like a singular plane, like a chessboard, and just being able to observe the past, present, and future as if they are like fixed, and just be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just move this over here and I'll do this here, and then that will result in this. You know, like plumbing, like figuring out how you're going to make the water flow into a particular area. If you can see it all in front of you, I can see how that would work. But that's what leads me to believe that it's not like a bunch of human beings. Like, I think that the people that we're always blaming. Like it's like, oh, it's the Jews, oh, it's the Kabbalah, it's the Kabbalists, it's the Sabbatean Frankists, it's the Donma, it's the Illuminati, like, you know, it's the Freemasons, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, but all of those are just groups of people who have occult knowledge. So that leads to more compartmentalization. So would it not be the case then that like if you're, because what we're always looking for is like a source, you know, like when you're looking for a leak in your house and how to fix it, and you're like, okay, we've got a leak. Now you have to find the source of the leak. Well, we observe evil around us. How do we find the source of evil? But then you get into the whole philosophical meta thing of like, okay, well, the source of evil actually is like within every individual person. And then that's when you get into the whole thing of like, the only way to solve this problem is like what I said 20 minutes ago, where it's like, and that's why I agree with Owen and Tom Barnett and Chris Gardner's take on things. It's like, the only way to actually affect any of this isn't by joining a group or going into war or by killing a single individual or a group of individuals. The only way to solve this is to become a node yourself of positive, you know, reciprocal love. You know, like you just have to project love and productivity and creative influence, and the more people that do that, it's like ripples upon ripples upon ripples upon ripples, and then the material temporal reality begins to shift, which makes fucking sense, because with the use of the internet and phones and you know, energetics or whatever, whether they're like actually performing hexes and casting spells and shit, like they have gotten to a stage where they have, whether consciously or subconsciously, have subjected a vast amount of mankind to a negative polarity. And that's why lots of us are kind of looking around going, oh shit, things are getting really bad. Which is funny, because that kind of makes me think about the whole thing of like, there's a few people on the internet now talking about how every time throughout history when things get really bad, in quotes, all the whites get together and then just go on a murdering rampage and establish order. Which is like, it's pretty funny, like. As far as the zeitgeist goes, that makes a lot of sense to me. Because ever since like the Crusades or World War II or whatever, the thing that is like seen as like the ultimate evil is white supremacy. Well, what if white supremacy actually makes things better? And that's why you have all the people who have actively and demonstrably made everything shit these days. Hey, Brinderber. That's why it makes sense that is the thing they are the most afraid of, is white supremacy and all this shit, like, you know, getting all the blacks to hate on the whites and shit, like, you know. It's that makes perfect sense to me, like, because when something like the Crusades happens, or something like the Nazi regime takes place, or something, like, you have all these white people just going, right, I've had enough, and then like home, like the Romans, like, you know what I mean? It's like you get all these white people who just go, right, that's enough of this bullshit, and then you establish a beautiful, symmetrical, ordered society, or they at least attempt to, and they do it by force, because you can't argue with stupid people. Like, that makes total sense to me. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, you can't argue with stupid. So what do you have to do with stupid? Well, you just have to make stupid, like, fit it. Like, you have to accommodate for stupid, you know? And maybe that's the lesson, is you have all these historical accounts of when you use force, it actually doesn't work out. It may temporarily, but in the long run, it doesn't actually work out. The only thing that actually works out is some kind of what I was talking about, where like if you have enough people in society using logic, reason, and love as a behavior, not love as in lust or romance or anything. Love is a behavior, you know, where like maintenance, discipline, like care, empathy, but like love of thyself as well, love of boundaries, like love of like um optimization and organization. Because like when you think like if love is a behavior, that to me seems as like a function of good. And like what is good, like you could relate good to life and propagation and productivity and creation and all, like so like you know life is like life itself is an act of love. And that's why like we have that song like that Printer Bear made when I was going on that rant. It's like everything is sex, everything is an in and an out and a push and a pull, everything is something going in to something else and then a third thing being born. There's like there's a movement, a dance, a you know a friction, a conflict, but it's a conflict that doesn't result in death or destruction. It's a conflict that results in an upward spiral, almost like a reverse tornado, where instead of like two opposing forces meeting each other and then causing a lot of destruction, you have two opposing forces meeting each other and causing a lot of growth and like spiral, like the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio. Like you have like flowers, water, all this stuff that has these properties to it where it just does, it just is, and what it is good. Like symmetry. That's why I love like doing the symmetrical so much, because it's like I don't even plan them really. Like you know, like sometimes I'll make decisions, you know, like a shape or a color, but like I don't ever go, this is what I'm going to do. And like this, the more in flow I am, the less decision making that I'm actually making or doing, the less like I suppose conscious I am about it, the more beautiful they end up being. And like that's a fascinating like microcosm of the macrocosm of all of this, is like the it's almost like the answer to all of this is to not fight it, because it is not what you need to fight. What you need to fight is yourself. Your internal conflict is the conflict, you know. And like it's fascinating, like how like just watching on Instagram the last couple of weeks and on YouTube the last couple of weeks, like watching Christians and Islamists battle it out rhetorically over like the Bible says this and God is this and blah blah blah, like, and then seeing Citizen Vigilante come out and seeing how everybody reacts to it and all. It's like these are distractions. You know, there is no answer, there is no solution in any of these things, which is obvious because like look at how long the Christian Islam thing has been going on. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, is that what Satan or evil itself, without trying to put like some kind of religious connotation on it from a particular perspective, if you just take a meta perspective, what are we talking about? Like, is that what evil itself is so good at? Is just like never mind like, you know, babies being eaten, or like a herbalist being burned alive at the stake and proclaimed to be a witch. Like these things that seem like such an injustice, such a wrong. Its ultimate evil is that subtle misdirection. You know, the whole thing of like the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled off was making you think that he wasn't real in the first place. That's why I think Santa Claus is actually like one of the biggest evils of modern civilization, is something so magical and seemingly good, and like the thing that everybody loves and all the kids love and all, like, it is actually like a profound evil because of what it actually results in. and then like the whole thing of like kids finding out that Santa Claus isn't real at a very young, typically a very young age, and what that does to a child's mind when you realize that everyone in your environment has been lying to you. You know, the thing you genuinely believed was real is actually a fantasy constructed for the sake of consumerism. So like the and like nobody died. Do you know what I mean? No, like there was no baby eaten, no woman burnt at a stake. You know, no genocide or anything. It was just a lie. It was just a fiction constructed and reiterated. I like that's profound. That like the ultimate evil doesn't even do anything, like physically. You know, it doesn't physically impose anything. It doesn't force anything. It just influences your mind in a direction, and it's like insanely evil. Like that's fascinating to me. Like, but yeah. So there's my rant for today. Don't forget to strike at that Ryko button. Ryko has insulted your mother.
In the local forest region, and the mighty mighty slithers from the bush proceeds to steal all your belongings and take a big chunk out of your ass and then scurry off into the distance, laughing at you while you bleed from your bum and realize that you have been mugged by a monster. All hail the mighty mighty. Mighty mighty. Mighty mighty. The last thing you want to come across is a member of the Mighty Mighty Clan, and you're out foraging for berries and grapes, grape haze in the local forest region. And the Mighty Mighty slithers from the bush proceeds to steal all your belongings and take a big chunk out of your ass and then scurry off into the distance, laughing at you while you bleed from your bum and realize that you have been mugged by a monster. All hail the Mighty Mighty. Mighty Mighty. The last thing you want to come across is a member of the Mighty Mighty Clan, and you're out foraging for berries and grapes, grape haze in the local forest region. And the Mighty Mighty slithers from the bush proceeds to steal all your belongings and take a big chunk out of your ass and then scurry off into the distance, laughing at you while you bleed from your bum and realize that you have been mugged by a monster. All hail the Mighty Mighty. Mighty Mighty. Mighty Mighty. Mighty Mighty. The last thing you want to come across is a member of the Mighty Mighty Clan, and you're out foraging for berries and grapes, grape haze in the local forest region. And the Mighty Mighty slithers from the bush proceeds to steal all your belongings and take a big chunk out of your ass and then scurry off into the distance, laughing at you when you bleed from your bum and realize that you have been mugged by a monster. All hail the Mighty Mighty. Mighty Mighty.
I think I need to change the color on the ceiling again. Making it darker will help though, so. As above, so below. Painting Guru. I return. Reiterate everything I missed in the last 15 minutes. Fuck off and hit the rewind button. Fuck. Although it would be really impressive if I actually could reiterate all of that, like, at the drop of a hat. Just be like, so what I said was... like, like that alien character out of Mass Effect. Is it Thane? Thane Krios. They have like perfect memory. They can like relive their memories, like photographically. They have perfect memory. Mass Effect series is fucking deadly. If you're a gamer and you've never played the Mass Effect series, seriously missing out. So good. Painting Guru. garlic parmesan boneless wings and a grilled cheese sandwich. It shouldn't feel as good as it does right now. That sounds nice. Did I miss anything except to wait for about 5 minutes? No, you probably didn't miss anything. I stopped my rant like a while ago. No, you didn't miss the phrase. I was just thinking about it there. I was just thinking about it there. Because I looked at the time. Right, with the help of my feathery friend Tobias Beakus Crows, we shall announce today's phrase of the day.
With a ding of my tiny donga, with a mighty song, I send cleansing vibrations through the interwebs to cleanse you filthy mortals of your dirty, filthy cheek, and allow it to flow freely as I announce today's phrase of the day.
Today's phrase of the day is as follows. The line between courageous and retarded is razor thin. Be both. Retard maxing is a... I don't know if any of you guys have watched that guy on YouTube. I can't remember his fucking name. Is that Elijah something? It's just some, like, good-looking guy sitting out his back garden. Sometimes he's smoking a cigarette or whatever, like... But he's always talking about retard maxing, and it's one of the funniest fucking, like, most intelligent, wise things I've ever seen somebody do on the internet. Like, it's just like don't try at anything. Just be a retard, and it's very similar, if not pretty much the same as like when I've said like, I love fucking up. Fucking up is my favorite thing to do. Like, fuck up everything. Because it's the quickest and easiest way to find the right way to do stuff. Because if you're constantly figuring out what not to do and getting all that out of the way as quickly as possible, then you like very quickly find out what to do and how like to do something correctly or how to do something in a better way. If you just like fuck it up completely the first time round, like it's hilarious. Like being a perfectionist and trying to be like good at stuff and like, you know, oh, I want to do well and all. It's like, no, just go. Like be like a child, you know, as Jesus would say or whatever, like completely fuck up as much as possible. But in a whimsical way, you know, in a childish way, not in like a destructive, dangerous, bull in a china shop, wantonly destructive way. Like, don't just walk into places and just like knock things over like a fucking cat. Like, oh, explanation of it's just S&S is just some nigger shit. You got a strike from YouTube for some reason. For some reason? You got a strike for YouTube from YouTube for some reason? Fuck up and find out, yeah. We'll do a Archangel Fuffo instead of Fafo, and it's just like some guy spilling stuff all over the place. Just like dropping plates, you know. Oh god. Right, I'm gonna leave it there because it's getting on, and I still have to do the dinner. So I hope you have enjoyed today's painting goo. I have enjoyed painting for you, and if you have any honor, you will pay for painting goo. Don't be a DEI hired Shaniqua for American Airlines. Yeah, don't do that shit and get people killed potentially. Right. I bid you all farewell. Remember, be good, be true, and be beautiful. And I will see you soon. Sayonara, my beloved Japodita. And to all you other filthy mortal swine, pay for painting goo. You filthy mortal swine. You have no honor. Huh?